What is up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. Welcome to episode 306 of Shadows and Pretties. So today we are going to get on to this game series called Resident Evil Zero. Now, since that Christmas is out of the way and it's done, I just wanted to let you guys know that we're going to be going into the Resident Evil game series, and today we're going to be reviewing Resident Evil Zero, which is a game that I played a long time ago. It's a pretty fun game. I mean, it came out for the Nintendo 64 in 1998, and of course, it came out for Xbox 360, Xbox One, and other, games later on. And this is part of the Resident Evil or Biohazard in Japan, and it's a pretty much a horror game, and this game is definitely a pretty fun one. I mean, it's a really fun one. It's a pretty cool one because a lot of the times a lot of people would remember this game because there is the first Resident Evil game, which there is there's the original one that came out in 1996, and this one is the original Resident Evil Zero. But I'm going to go ahead and start off with reviewing Resident Evil Zero. Now, before I get to that, I want to say how everybody's, Christmas was doing. Like, how was everyone's Christmas and, all that. And you guys pretty much already know that I reviewed Elmo Saves Christmas twice. The first time was back in 2012, and, well, not 2012, 2022, and I reviewed it in 2023. Well, you could say it was a reboot of that episode. Like, it's just a reboot of me reviewing that episode. So if I review the same movie twice or something like that, that is pretty much the fact that, it's pretty much pretty much did a retake on the review. I just wanted to do that because I was looking back at it and I wasn't really a fan of the original I made, so that's why I decided to do it again. So I did pretty much a reboot of that, if that makes any sense. So today we're going to review Resident Evil Zero. Now I am going to explain what the plot of this movie is about. Well, not movie, but the game is about. In case if you guys who have not seen the movie in like a really long time could get a refresher as to, what this is about. So basically the plot takes place on July 23rd of 1998. A train owned by the pharmaceutical company called Umbrella, the Epileptic Express, comes in under attack with a swarm of leeches. As the passengers and crew are attacked, a mysterious unman watches from a hillside. And 2 hours later, Bravo Team, the Special Tactics and Rescue Services, or STARS for short, a tactical unit of Raccoon City Police Departments, is investigating the cannibalistic murders of, well, you could pretty much guessed it, a Arklay Mountains of the outside of Raccoon City. Now, on the way to the scene, a helicopter, its full engine failure, crash lands in the forest. Searching the area, the officer, Professor Chambers of Bravo, comes in to express now motionless. She begins to investigate the scene, only to find the passengers and crew transform into zombies. She is well aware of the transformation of the result to the exposure of Umbrella's T-virus contained within the leeches. As she explores the train, she teams up with Billy Cohen, a former Marine Force Renaissance officer who wanted to be executed for killing 23 people until the military police van transporting him crashed into the region. So the pair notices the mysterious man, and the moments later after the train slowly begins moving again, unbeknownst to the pair, 2 soldiers from Umbrella, on the orders of Albert Wesker and William Birkin, they attempt to take control of the train to try and destroy it, but unfortunately they're killed by the leeches before they can continue their mission. As the train speeds out of control, Rebecca and Billy apply the brakes to avert its course into an abandoned training facility for the exposure executives of Umbrella. They discovered that the former director of the facility and corporation of co-founder, Dr. James Marcus, he was responsible for discovering the so-called progenitor virus in 1960s. They decided to examine the potential biological weapon. He combined it with the responsible for discovering the so-called progenitor virus in the 1960s. but they used the leech to DNA to develop the T virus that causes rapid mutations in living organisms to thus transform humans and animals into zombies and monsters, etc. So the pair continue to explore the facility as Wesker decides to leave Umbrella and join its rival company. They make plans to research on the T virus, and William Birkin refuses to his offer to join them. Instead, opting to complete his research of the G virus, Rebecca becomes separated from Billy and was on her own when she encounters Captain Incarano Del Marini, who tells her that the rest of Bravo team will meet up at the abandoned old mansion they found, but they allow her to stay behind to find Billy. So just after Incarino leaves, Rebecca gets attacked by the Tyrant. After temporarily defeating the Tyrant, she meets up with Billy again, and they both defeat it and continue towards a water plant. So eventually, Rebecca and Billy catch up with two leeches controlling them, but who happens to be Marcus's final experiment. Queen Leech in 1988, Marcus is assassinated in the orders of the Umbrella Fervor co-founder, Oswald E. Spencer, who fought of his research. So his corpse was dumped as Queen Leech entered his body to reanimate it, gain its memories and abilities to shapeshift. Thus, believing that to be resurrected, Marcus and orchestrated the T-virus outbreak facility on the train emerges and means of revenges against Umbrella. So eventually, after temporarily defeating it, Billy and Rebecca attempt to escape the surface via lift, but as William Birkin trips the facility's self-destruct mechanism, they're pursued by the Queen Leech, and the eventually pair killed it before the facility is destroyed. So following their escape, Rebecca notices the mansion Marnie hadn't mentioned and prepares to head for it. But before she does, she assures Billy that her police report will list him as another casualty of an incident. Thanking her for his freedom, Billy departs as Rebecca heads towards the mansion to seek whereabouts for her fellow Bravo team members. So, of course, Resident Evil, which is the other game, which I'll talk about in another video, will involve something else. So this was around the time when the original Resident Evil was still in development, and the idea for the prequel came up shortly after the 64 or DD preparatory for the Nintendo 64. It was later announced in 1995. So, yeah. So basically, Resident Evil 0 was a cartridge-based Nintendo 64 game, and this was around the time when Resident Evil 0 game was, it's pretty much a prequel to the other games. It's a prequel to the first game. I personally thought this was a pretty good sequel. Well, not sequel, but prequel to the game. I mean, this actually gives a little bit of backstory about Rebecca Chambers, because when I played Resident Evil, I never expected Rebecca to be, in the game, but that's when I decided to play the prequel, and the prequel was actually pretty nice and made. I personally really enjoyed it. So what did I personally think of the game? Well, the gameplay is actually pretty nice. I like the newest game, which I thought the newest game was well made. The remake of it was pretty good too. So I definitely have to say that this game has, some mixed emotions, but I personally thought it was a fun game to play. It's a good prequel to it to show what happens in Resident Evil, and it is really, really cool. So that's pretty much what I have to say. But this is a very fun game. I really recommend it. So I can definitely really say that this has actually been one of the funnest games I've ever played. I mean, a lot of Resident Evil games are fun, but this one is definitely one of the fun ones out there. I personally really enjoyed this game. It's really well made in detail, and I could definitely say right now that this is a very awesome game. I mean, the gameplay's fun, and I like the characters. They're really well developed and made. They're personally one of my best favorite games, along with the other Resident Evil games. There's so many of them, but I can definitely say this one's a good one. So, yeah. Anyways, with that being said, this game was made sometime in 2002. Well, I mean, it was around the time when Resident Evil, the first one, was being in development. So, yeah, I mean, Capcom's still very different when it comes to certain games on how they released it and stuff like that. So you could definitely say Capcom is a pretty big company for Resident Evil games. So, do I personally recommend this game? Well, if you're a Resident Evil fan like myself, then yeah, I do recommend you check out this game. It's very well made, it's detailed, it's perfectly awesome. So, I guess with that being said, and that being the case, like I'm gonna say, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these games. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. I personally am going to give this game a 10 out of 10. It's a fun game, really well made. I like the prequel. I thought the characters were good, and I really like how this is a prequel to Resident Evil, and this gives us a bit of backstory about Rebecca, which it's awesome. So, with that being said and that being the case, what did you guys personally think of this story of this game? Did you like it? Did you not? Do you think something could have happened to make the game better? Etc. etc. So, anyways, with that being said, yeah, leave me now what your thoughts are on this game in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. I want to say right now, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, if you happen to, want to follow me on Twitter, link to my Twitter account will be in the About page section. If you guys want to follow me on DeviantArt, link to my DeviantArt will also be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow that. Also, if you're interested in subscribing to my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo, link to that will also be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow my media and stuff if you're interested. So, anyways, with that being said, if I'm missing something about this game I didn't talk about, let me know what it is in the comments below. So, anyways, with that being the case, and with that being said, I'll be seeing you guys all in the next video. Peace out, and like always, I'll see you all next time.